Hello everyone and welcome back to DCS World and a brand new single player series. We are looking at Hormuz Freedom on the AV-8B Harrier night attack variant of the jet. This is a fictional campaign set in 2002 with a really interesting premise. So 9/11 attacks happened as they did in our timeline, and just as happened in our timeline, President Bush referred to Iran, Iraq and North Korea as the axis of evil. However, where this campaign's timeline differs is that Iran responds to this by forming the axis of resistance, comprising Iran, Syria and Hezbollah. And then they launch Scud missiles at any bases in the region that are hosting US military forces, and threatened that further missile attacks would take place which would endanger civilian populations if any more military aircraft took off from those bases. And so, in response, all of US's allies in the region have grounded all US military flights. On top of that, the Iranian Axis closed the Straits of Hormuz to all traffic under US, Great British, French or Australian flags. As for what we're doing in this campaign, we are in VMA 513, the Flying Nightmares, flying from the USS Tarawa, a light aircraft carrier, and our task fleet has been sent into the Persian Gulf in order to deal with the situation. Now, AWACS and tanker flights are still available, but no other US Air Force assets will be there, so it's going to be up to us to do a lot of the ground pounding. As for what we're doing in today's mission, we have just received word that a Norwegian flag tanker, the Front Alder, has been signalled by Iranian Navy to turn towards Bandar and be seized by the authorities. The ship is sending out a distress signal and is refusing to change course, and so we are being dispatched to help protect it. There's already an Iranian Corvette class ship that has left a port and is making a beeline towards the tanker, and so we are tasked with intercepting that Corvette and any other Iranian ships in the area. Should be noted though that we are not officially at war with Iran at this point, and so our rules of engagement are strictly weapons hold unless told otherwise. As for what we're armed with, we've got a targeting pod, 2 IR Mavericks and 2 GBU-12 paveway bombs. And so with me being quite new to the Harrier, let's jump in and see how I do and what mistakes I make along the way.
Uzi, Overlord. The Corvette is Bullseye 332 for 33.
So here we are a few minutes later. I've been guided in occasionally with call-outs by the JTAC, so know roughly where the enemy ship is. That there is our friendly ship that we are trying to rescue during all of this. I know that the enemy is somewhere down ahead. I had to try this mission a few times. I did manage it completely the first time and then messed up the landing. And then had to repeat it a few times because after that I kept messing up the actual mission part. At this point I know really where to look here. So I know that it is somewhere ahead. Of course the cloud is in a bit of an awkward position. Just setting up my targeting pod here. Acknowledging the master caution alert was just for turning off the autopilot. So visually scanning here, you can see there's a tanker that's just a civilian tanker. And then spot right off my nose this ship, zoom in and confirm that is a military ship there.
Overlord Uzi, we have visual on Terranful class Corvette. Approaching fast on front Aldair. No dirt from the Corvette. Uzi, Overlord, execute show of force.
So,
Roger.
at this point,
Staying close. Here we go.
we are going to do a show of force. It doesn't explain what that is, but I've done enough of these campaigns. That means a very close, very fast flyby. Now, I am having issues here that the targeting pod is not behaving the way I want it to. I have, in hindsight, from looking through the video here, realised the big problem here is I keep accidentally turning off air-to-ground mode. I don't know how I am turning off air-to-ground mode. I'll have to look into that. But if you're not in air-to-ground mode, the targeting pod controls don't like working. So I'm mostly trying to focus on sorting that out. Targeting pod here is in just a snowplow mode, it is not actually tracking. Now, as I said before, we're not at war with Iran at this point, so we should be able to do a show of force without being shot down. Realise there that air-to-ground mode is off, but it's a little bit late at this point. I can't really slew the pod in time, so I just give up with getting a lock on it and just go for show of force. Low, right off the conning tower, there is no way they're going to miss that. Then pull up, try and gain some distance and gain some altitude so I can actually turn around and get the lock again.
Overlord Uzi, 1-1. No change in course, no change in speed. Uzi, Overlord. Corvette is declared hostile. Clear and hot. Weapons free.
So there we go, we are allowed to engage the ship at this point.
2. Button 1, radio 1. And button 3, radio 2. Push. 2.
Not entirely sure why there's a voice tab there for setting up the radio, because that was the initial radio settings that we had to put in at the very beginning of the mission, so there's no actual change at that point. Here, trying to get the lock, managed to slew the pod on, press the wrong button there. Again, I am very new to actually using the Harrier, so end up pulling off. Here's me coming back in for another pass. This time I managed to get the lock on the target. Got the lock at the point that it was too close to be able to drop anything, so I had to turn it around again. Luckily the next pass is a little bit cleaner. I do get a nice lock there. See the target timer ticking down, everything is fine. I drop the bomb. And you may notice I've forgotten a key step here. I've not actually fired the laser. Which I notice at this point, fire the laser is now firing, but that's really too late. And the missile, the bomb even, doesn't have enough time to get around. So at this point the Corvette is getting rather close to the front Aldair. So I just give my wingman the order to engage, decided I have messed this up despite trying this many, many times.
Master arm on. Rifle.
As I'm setting up for another attack run, my wingman does come in and fires his Maverick off. So, trying to watch the Corvette. And there we go.
Uzi 1-1. We got him. Overlord Uzi. The Corvette is sinking.
And so there we go, we take that out. Interestingly, with my past runs, if I did that with a bomb, it didn't kill it.
Declared hostile. Bullseye 4-0 for 31 miles. Weapons free.
But hitting it with the Maverick seemed to be a one-shot kill. So here we just get an alert that there are two trawlers that are approaching. So fly over to where those are. Again, I can identify these quite easily now because this isn't my first time. At first I was convinced these were civilian ships and spent ages going around looking, but these are in fact the enemy trawlers here. So again, get it locked up. Have my targeting pod ready. This time fire in advance of dropping so I don't make the same mistake. Here, drop the paveway. Everything's fine. But then I try and zoom out on the targeting pod display, and for some reason that resets the view. And without the laser, the bomb is immediately going dumb and misses by quite a long way. I may be saying some very bad words here while I'm muttering to myself, but shrug it off. I've still got two Mavericks, so turn back in on the ships here. Get the targeting pod lock, get the Maverick lock, and there we go, there is one Maverick away. You can see the other ship is being highlighted with the FLIR chevron, the little triangle that is steady off the nose. So put the targeting pod on that. First ship is splashed there. Have to reselect the Maverick. And get it. Trying to get the lock here. The Maverick is behaving a little bit weird. But do manage to get the lock. Fire the other Maverick off. A little bit close range, but should be fine. And there we go, direct hit. Second ship destroyed. So yeah, made quite a lot of mistakes there, but did manage to complete the objectives. And I had to use the wingman for one of the bombs, but oh well.
Overlord, RTB, tanker on station. Shell, Tonkin 55X, radio on 255. Home plate, Tonkin 80X, radio on 127.5. Good show.
And so then we start heading back. I've got enough fuel just to directly go back. I don't need to repair. So pretty good. Got the two trawlers myself. Wingman got the Corvette kill. And here is my attempts. I'd managed to land successfully multiple times. And then I try going in for this approach. I know this isn't the correct way. This is just the way I find a bit easier. All nice and good, except my muscle memory is the wrong way around. I'm used to helicopters when it comes to hovering, and so I'm used to using collectives where you push down or forward to lower the thrust. When I try that here, it suddenly gives me a massive boost of thrust and slams me into the conning tower. So, little bit damaged, but that's still counted as a mission complete. So, not a good landing. I still clearly need to learn a lot about the Harrier, but having fun so far. Hope you're having fun, and hope you're enjoying the series. Certainly looking forward to doing some more missions, hopefully with me being a little bit more competent. But until next time, I hope you remember to be kind to yourselves and everyone else. Cheers.